Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back.
One of my CSIs went up and opened the inlet, and we found a tuft of hair along the inside of one of the oil tank inlets.
This particular case has been described as the world's cruelest and most senseless murder.
Suspect armed and dangerous.
Today, we delve into 3 real-life cases of tragic murder. Stories that shocked communities, broke hearts, and left questions that linger to this day. In a world filled with countless mysteries, some stories stand out for the profound sorrow they leave behind. Please be advised that this video contains graphic details that may be disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Our first case takes us to Frederick, Colorado, in 2018.
I went through one of the darkest times of my life, and then I met Chris. And he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
What seemed like a picture-perfect family turned into the setting for horrifying crime. Chris Watts, a seemingly loving husband and father, was accused and later confessed to murdering his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste.
Mr. Watts, why did you kill your wife and 2 children?
The tragedy began on August 13th, 2018, when Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant with a baby boy they planned to name Nico, returned home from a business trip in the early morning hours. Chris later admitted that the two argued, during which Shanann confronted him about an affair. It was then that he strangled her to death in their bedroom. After killing Shanann, Chris carried her lifeless body to his truck. Disturbingly, he also loaded his 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste, into the vehicle alive. He drove them to an oil field owned by his employer, Anadarko Petroleum. What happened next was beyond comprehension. At the site, Chris smothered his daughters one by one. Bella, the older of the 2, reportedly fought back, begging her father to stop. After ending their lives, Chris concealed Shannon's body in a shallow grave and placed the girls' bodies in separate oil tanks. The case began to unravel quickly when Shannon's friend, worried about her sudden disappearance, contacted the police. Body cam footage from the initial welfare check shows Chris appearing nervous and evasive, but still trying to maintain the facade of a concerned husband. Chris even appeared on television, pleading for his family's safe return. However, his inconsistent behavior and inability to account for certain details raised suspicions. A failed polygraph test led to his eventual confession during an intense police interrogation. Chris Watts was charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder and unlawful termination of a pregnancy. In November 2018, he pled guilty to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to 5 life terms without the possibility of parole. The Watts family murders are a chilling reminder that even those closest to us can harbor unimaginable darkness. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico's lives were tragically cut short, leaving behind a community in mourning and a nation grappling with the senselessness of the crime.
We live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Our next case takes us to Japan, where a young girl's life ended in unimaginable horror. In 1988, 17-year-old Junko Furuta was abducted by 4 teenage boys. For 44 days, she was subjected to unspeakable torture before finally succumbing to her injuries. Junko was on her way home from work when she was ambushed and kidnapped by a group of boys led by Hiroshi Miyano, a known troublemaker with connections to the Yakuza. She was taken to one of their homes, where she was held captive. Over the course of her captivity, Junko endured unimaginable suffering. The boys subjected her to beatings, starvation, and sexual violence. She was forced to consume cockroaches and urine and was burned with cigarettes and lighters. On several occasions, her captors invited other people to join in the abuse, further deepening the extent of her torment. Despite neighbors hearing strange noises and Junko's visible injuries when seen, no one intervened. After 44 days, Junko's body could no longer endure the repeated trauma. She succumbed to her injuries after being severely beaten with an iron bar. In a final act of cruelty, the boys stuffed her body into a drum and filled it with concrete before disposing of it in a vacant lot. The discovery of Junko's body sent shockwaves across Japan. The perpetrators were quickly arrested and charged, but the trial sparked outrage. Due to their ages, the boys received sentences that many felt were far too lenient. Hiroshi Miyano, considered the ringleader, was sentenced to just 20 years in prison. The others received even lighter sentences. The story of Junko Furuta is a haunting reminder of the capacity for human cruelty and the importance of vigilance in our communities. Her tragic death inspired changes in Japanese law regarding juvenile sentencing, but it came far too late to save her. Our final case is a tragedy that forever changed how the world views school safety.
People are always making fun of me. I don't like it. I really don't. It makes me mad. Ooh!
Goddamn piece of punk ass shit! Do not mess with that freaking kid! If you do, I'll rip off your goddamn head and shove it so far up your freaking ass you'll be coughing up dandruff for 4 freaking months!
Look, I don't care what you say. If you ever touch him again, I will freaking kill you. I'm gonna pull out a goddamn shotgun and blow your damn head off. Do you understand, you little worthless piece of crap?
On April 20th, 1999, 2 students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, carried out a meticulously planned attack on Columbine High School in Colorado. They killed 12 of their classmates and 1 teacher before turning their weapons on themselves. The massacre was the culmination of months of planning. Eric and Dylan recorded disturbing video diaries detailing their intentions, weapons stockpiling, and deep resentment towards society and their peers. On the morning of the attack, they carried out their plan with chilling precision, starting with bombs in the school cafeteria that fortunately failed to detonate. As panic ensued, the 2 entered the school armed with firearms, targeting students and staff indiscriminately. They killed 13 people and injured 24 others before retreating to the school library, where they took their own lives. The scene left behind was one of unspeakable horror, with families desperately seeking answers and justice. The Columbine High School massacre sparked a national debate on gun control, school safety, and the role of bullying and mental health in such tragedies. Survivors and families of the victims have spent decades advocating for legislative changes to prevent similar events. Despite these efforts, the legacy of Columbine looms large as a grim symbol of the dangers schools continue to face. Columbine remains one of the most infamous school shootings in history. Its impact is felt to this day as schools implement active shooter drills and heightened security measures. Yet, for the families of the victims, the loss and pain are ever-present reminders of that fateful day. Each of these cases is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can sometimes overshadow it. As we remember the victims, let's also remember the importance of compassion, vigilance, and standing up against violence in all its forms.